Oh boy. All right. Let's see what's going on here. Okay. All right. So first off, I could not uh, be outside, so I have to be in a wonderful room, which kind of sucks. Another thing, a little bit of a delay, a little bit of an issue because, well, I'd found my charger, and that was a little bit complicated and not so much fun. So, before I get any further, I should probably. What did I want to do? Oh yes, I have to bring up the questions that I was asked for the Q&A. So there's that. But give me 1 second here. I need to post this. Hey, how's it going? Welcome back. I just have to pop this in. Yeah. All right. So let's hope there's like, I understand I'm like competing with, yeah, we're competing with like really nice weather outside right now. So that kind of sucks. I wish I was outside too, but unfortunately, I say that I do this. So, anyways, what's going on? Okay, so I actually just finished quarantining, which kind of sucked. So that's I wasn't doing anything for the past week because now they changed the rules with the COVID isolation rules. Um, you're only supposed to, well, if you've had your first vaccination shot, you're only supposed to isolate for a week and you get tested. So I got had to get tested twice. And on my second negative test, they let me go and I'm free. So I had the weekend, but the whole week I was basically stuck inside doing absolutely nothing. Well, actually, no, not true. I actually decided to start playing Call of Duty Mobile, which was interesting because I don't know, I was really lazy and I was just, hey, why not? So I started doing that. And then they had the qualifiers for the world, like that world championship they have there. So I made qualifiers, which it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, like it was competitive, which kind of fun, but whatever. What else? What else did I do? Yeah, that's about it, really. I mean, mowed the lawn. I don't know if that's really exciting stuff. My week's been pretty boring. I was trying to film some stuff, but I also was writing. I was writing, and then I was trying to get stuff together. Oh, I sold one watch. I did do that. I did end up selling the Stoa. Um, I guess plug, a little plug. Obviously, if anybody's looking for anything, hit me up, and I can find something. Most of the stuff will be found at Car Rocks Watches. So if I want to put that in there, yeah. Not on Instagram, so find it on there if anybody's looking for anything. But yeah, obviously on there, this is my Oris Aquis, super awesome watch. And actually, I should probably answer those questions before I forget about them, which was actually kind of, some of them were funny. One of them asked me if I was like one that was put in asked me if I was any good at basketball. I would say I was okay at basketball. Like when I played for like, I played like 7, 8 years, something like that. I was decent enough where I like, for the most part, I was always starting. It was 1 year that I just had a bad year, and the coaching staff, we just didn't really get along. We didn't jive too well. And I think honestly, that's what it comes down to is coaching. Coaching is one of the biggest things, on the planet that I could think of. And a lot of people don't think coaches make that much of a difference. It can make or break whether a player wants to play for your team. I mean, you could call them locker room cancer, whatever you want, complain about the players themselves, but it's like at the end of the day, if you're not putting in the effort, if you're not working, then it's kind of difficult in that sense. But to want to produce for them and do that and kind of go that route. Okay, yeah. So like when I played basketball, I mean, like I played it mostly it was either point guard or kind of shooting guard. The interesting thing is from beyond the arc, I suck at shooting. Like I'm more of like a close to mid range kind of jumper person. I don't really shoot that much. I was pretty good at driving to the net. So I would say, like, when I was younger, I guess my game was quite one dimensional. Once I started coaching, and just playing, kind of just goofing around and stuff, I realized that you had to change your game to be a little bit more, have more dimensions to it, where it's not, you can't just always drive to the net as your default option. So that's kind of where I went, and I changed my game to be a bit, kind of practiced a lot more shooting, mostly mid-range jumpers, to be honest, because it's where most of my shot attempts are going to be. I didn't really feel like I was going to practice threes when I wasn't hitting, at least, like, I would say 60 to 70% from mid-range. So I didn't want to do that or go that route. Obviously I drink tea. It's just what I do. I feel like that's the British in me coming out, like the old man. Yeah. So it's like, was I good? Sort of. When I started coaching, I knew that I was probably better than when I was playing. Just in terms of, I think like it was more of like, I was better because I realized what I was doing. Like, I realized, what kind of beer do I drink? Oh, I said I drink tea, but I honestly don't really drink beer. I just don't. I think the only, like, if you're talking beer, I would say there's I don't care if I get judged for it. It's actually like it's a Radler, and that's pretty good. I know it's like a fruity beer. I'm not a beer drinker. I don't really like beer that much. But yeah, fruity, like, it's kind of a Radler, and you can mix it like a 50-50 with a cider, and it tastes really good. But yeah, try not to drink too much because A, it's expensive, especially when you go out, and B, it's not really that good for you. Lots of calories. And you wake up with a hangover too. Not so good either. So that's my philosophy. Expensive, hangover, calories. I'd rather stay skinny, or at least slim. I don't want to balloon out to like 500 pounds. Not a good idea. Yeah. What else do I got? Oh, do I freestyle rap? No, I do not. I do not freestyle rap. I'm like the whitest person there is. I mean, I play basketball and I like rap music, but I don't freestyle. Can I beatbox? No. My one buddy, a shout out to Elijah, who actually got me like my first, I would call it a real job. I was working at a gas station. It's not really a real job, but yeah, he could beatbox. He's pretty good at that. It's like all he would do, like 8-hour shift of him beatboxing, and I'd just be like, yeah, all right. But he was actually pretty good. Oh, can I skateboard? I used to skateboard when I was younger. Like, how old? I think back when like the Tony Hawk games were like really, really popular, like what Tony Hawk, like Underground 2 and stuff like that. When like every kid wanted to skateboard and every kid had a skateboard, that's like when I skateboarded. So I was probably like either 10 or 11. So what was that, like 15, 16 years ago almost? No. Yeah, we about 15 years ago, 15-ish. 15 years ago, yeah, I was skateboarding. But I wasn't really any good. I could do like an ollie. I could kind of manual. And I think I was only getting maybe like this much air from an ollie. Like, I could barely do anything. I was like trying to learn how to do a kickflip, but no, then I don't know. I guess like I started really like getting into hockey and stuff. So I didn't really care that much about skateboarding. Plus, the skateboarding wasn't really popular like at my school, like my elementary school that I was at. Like, pretty much all like the cool kids were all hockey players. So that was kind of that. Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. A couple of people coincidentally were asking about what plans that I had for the Prelude and what I was planning on doing with it this summer. Oh, hey, what's going on? Yeah. So what I was planning on doing with the Prelude this summer, it depends first of all on how much revenue I'm going to generate from selling watches. As to what I kind of do with it. I was looking into certain options on body work, that because I mean, I've been neglecting the body for mean, it's the original paint, original everything, and there's a bit of rust I need to take care of. But the car is also like, I don't know, what is it, like 30, 31 years old now? It's an ancient car at this point. I feel like, I mean, obviously, some guy's going to chirp back with like a '66 Mustang and say, "Oh, that's not old at all." But I mean, to me, it's an old vehicle. Anything older than about 20 something years is, I mean, even that's like the '90s Hondas now. But yeah, so I was looking maybe into getting some body work done on the vehicle. I was also looking at trying to what was it? What was I talking about? Oh yeah, yeah. Like I was thinking that I would probably get going into like, because I know I need to replace a couple suspension components, and then I was gonna see if I could start gathering parts for the hydroelectric steering conversion that I was planning on doing. That reminds me, someone I know I get to ask this question a lot, so I might as well just throw it out here right now. The F20V swap, when people say that it's cheaper, because people ask this all the time, oh, do I have power steering and AC? Oh, okay. So no, I do not have AC running. I don't have AC running on my power. Like, I don't have AC and I don't have power steering. I deleted them. I was running. I have to I have to rebuild the rack anyways. It's kind of like the one that. So because originally my car didn't have four-wheel steering. I bought a car from Calgary, drove it back up that had four-wheel steering. But it was actually cheaper for me to buy an entire parts car than it was for me to just get the parts shipped. And the front rack on that was leaking. So I just was like, whatever, we'll deal with it. The only problem is a lot of companies don't manufacture the racks, which is kind of a little bit of a problem. So kind of, it's like, and I actually asked them, I said, hey, could I send this one out as a core for you guys, and you guys, fix it and then send it back to me? And they said, no. I was just like, hey, you guys are stupid, but whatever. I emailed the company directly. But we'll see. I basically kind of have to come in and snipe them every now and then. They get put up on the market. Mostly I check Rock Auto kind of frequently, usually about maybe a couple times a month, just to see if there's anything there. But yeah, so no, I do not have power steering or air conditioning. Hence, it's actually pretty crazy. I remember, was it 3 years ago? Oh, how long ago? Yeah, I think it was 3 years ago. I was down. This is when there were all those fires in BC, so it was like creating everything be like really, really, like Vancouver was getting like really, really hot and humid. I remember it was like plus 36 with the humidex and everything. And I was stuck in my car I was driving out to Abbotsford from Vancouver, stuck on Highway 1. I think it's Highway 1. And I was stuck in there, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, this is brutal, because I have my windows down. It was like bumper to bumper traffic, and because they were doing a bunch of construction on the highway, and I was just like, oh my goodness, I'm stuck here. And they're like, oh, it was crap, like legit crap. I as much as people complain, they're like, oh, race cars, blah blah blah, project cars don't need AC. AC is kind of like that, one of those nice luxuries, like you don't really care about it until you like really need it, and when you really need it, then you're like, you just hate not having it. But yeah, I have to do a couple of other things, just body work. We'll see. That might be a little project for next year, but I have to do a couple components, suspension components, because I replaced all the front end suspension components, minus the struts in the spring, like the struts in the springs and all that stuff. I don't know if I can't really lower the car too much, because I only have like, what is it, just over 5 inches of ground clearance as is, and I don't really want to, like, I don't want to end up bottoming out in my oil pan. I'm trying to think what else was I planning on doing this summer with the car. This really depends. I also have to factor in some of the traveling that I'm going to be doing. I'll probably be heading down to Vancouver. Looking about cars soon. What's a good starter car, by the way? I love the content. Oh, okay. So, Ethan, awesome. Thank you. Obviously I wasted enough time, so doing this, I guess to me it's more fun. But so look, my question, first of all, how much are you planning on spending? And if you haven't looked, found the video that I did on this, which is basically kind of like a process. It's what did I do? It's like a 9-step process. You can go look through that. I did a video on it. I know it's, interestingly enough, because a lot of the videos that I think will do well, And I'll be like, oh, I put in a lot of effort into this video. Literally, I'll put it up and it'll get like 30 views, and like that's it. And I'm just like, what? And then there'll be like really dumb videos that I'm like, oh, that was like literal junk. I'll just put it up because I don't have any other thing to put up, and I'm like, whatever. I'm fed up, and I'll just upload. And all of a sudden, that's the video that has like 6,000 views. So, or like something that I didn't think would have a lot of views, and that's the one that gets all the views. And that I think it was like absolute piss poor production quality. And I'm just like, it's logically, it doesn't make sense. It's like the things that you think are going to be important, no one gives a crap about. And the things that you're like, whatever, just throw it out there. And then all of a sudden, those are the ones that you're actually getting views from. It really doesn't make sense. But yeah, so I did do a video on that. Here, you want to know what I will do is I will put it as a link in the chat, and you can look at that on your own time. But in terms, the very first thing I need to know for you guys, when you do that, when you're looking at buying a car, the very first thing I ask anybody, whether it's a car, whether it's a watch, whether it's like literally anything, I need to. Oh, there we go. Okay. There you go. There you go. Yeah. So whenever I'm looking at something, whenever anybody asks me something, whether it's to buy something, I always ask them, what's your budget? Like, how much are you planning on spending? And it's something that was taught to me when I started selling cars. I mean, my parents, I mean, well, obviously my dad's, or not my parents. My dad's a salesperson. Like, he's a real estate agent here in the city. Pretty darn successful one. So I'll plug him in there. But he's always kind of put into my head, and any sales training is always going to be the first thing you always want to know is how much are you planning on spending. So that is the premise, right? So you say, okay, 10 to 20K for a budget. Okay, and then the question that we ask after that, are you planning on paying cash, or are you planning on financing that? So is that 10K cash or 20K cash, or is that 20K in finance amount? Because if you're financing it, it's very, very different than if you're oh, hey. Nick, you joined. Thank you. I am a nerd. I know. Actually, I don't know who's more nerdy, me or you. I do not know. I think you're cooler than me because you're the musician. Also, you guys have a legit podcast. Actually, something really funny, Nick. Here's something I found. I opened up my Apple podcast list, and guess what the last thing that was playing on it? Because I hadn't opened that app up in years, and I downloaded it again onto my phone. And the last thing that was playing was the Freezing Show podcast. And so I was like, I went back in and listened to one of the episodes, and I was like, wow. I was like, I think some of the stuff that we've said has changed a lot. But anyways, Ethan, you said cash is king. So you're thinking 10 to 20K cash. You're just gonna ignore that. Okay. Oh, big oof on that. Take the L. What do you mean? Those were good episodes though. Those were actually really funny. Like the one that we did with Andrew where he talked about his Value Village stories. Those were fire, man. Those were fire. Now, I don't know if you actually could get views or any sort of revenue generation from them, but I was listening to the last podcast that you guys just released. Sound was really good. Okay, so you're saying cash on for the 10 to 20K cash. So after that, I'm gonna say, what kind of vehicle are you planning? Like, what do you want? What are you looking for out of this vehicle? Do you want something that's like more sporty performance? Do you want something that's like, just an everyday vehicle? Do you want something that, travel from point A to point B? Do you care about gas mileage? How many seats does it have to have? I mean, obviously you're not getting you could get a 2-seater, but I don't know. I call 2-seaters a relationship car because you have one plus one more. Any more and it just starts getting really awkward and confusing. So what are you thinking? What kind of vehicle are you thinking? That could be, it could be like a truck, a car, minivan. I mean, I don't judge. You drive a mini? Well, maybe I will judge a little, to be honest. It's always funny. People are like, oh, I won't judge you. Okay, so you're thinking a Honda Civic. Are we thinking, okay, default option. I swear, the amount of people that I've recommended to just go buy a Civic is like literally everybody's like, they're like, oh, I remember, who was it? Who was I talking to the other day? And they're like, oh, what kind of car should I buy? And I'm just like, Civic. Like, well, you can't go wrong with it. That's the problem. It's like a default option. It's like when people tell me it's like, what's a luxury watch you should buy? I'm like, an Omega Seamaster, like the SMP, the Seamaster Professional. I'm like, you can't go wrong with it. I mean, mind you, you'll lose a bit of money on it, but you're going to lose pretty much money on anything except Rolex or Audemars Piguet or like Patek. But we don't have money for that crap. So Honda Civic. So you're thinking about something like, a 4-door sedan. Or you're thinking a coupe, like 2-door or 4-door. What are you thinking? Or hatchback? Because 10 to 20K, you can get some nice stuff. It just depends on what route you want to take with that. Like what kind of route do you want to go? 4-door. Okay. Are you thinking? Do you care about performance, or do you care about um like fuel economy? I mean, mind you, it's a Civic. They're all going to get pretty good fuel economy. Because like you can get the base models, which like you can get base models. You can get those the sport models. So those have the 1.5 liter turbo, and then well, I haven't really been too well versed. Okay, so okay, both. Okay, I'm gonna say probably your best option. Probably you're gonna look at, if it were me, and I was spending 10 to 20K on a car, I wouldn't get like the base model. I just wouldn't. Yes, you can get a newer one, probably like lower kilometers. Sorry if I'm like hiccuping. I got the hiccups. That sucks. You could probably get lower kilometers. You can probably get a newer one. It is what it is, right? But if you're gonna, chances are you're probably gonna want something that's a little bit more pizzazz and exciting when you step on it. Can you drive a manual transmission? That's the next question. Can you drive a manual? Because if you can't drive a manual, all the Civic SIs are manual transmission, which, to be honest, I know a lot of people don't really like manual transmissions. No, you. Okay, so you can't drive manual. Do you care about driving manual? Yes, no, maybe so. Because like if you don't care about driving manual, okay. So all the Civic SIs are manual transmission. It's just the way Honda's kind of kept it. It's been a very like purist thing in that sense. That they're trying to go like very back to basic. I don't personally have a problem with that. I mean, I've driven manual transmission since I was about 18, and I haven't had a car that's been an automatic since my very first car, which yeah. But like realistically, the transmissions have come, like the automatic transmission. We used to call them auto tragic. Because they were trash. Like the Honda transmissions of the late 90s and early 2000s, the automatics were legit garbage. They just were. There were so many issues. I'm surprised they didn't have like class action lawsuits with how bad they were. And people always say that Hondas are the most reliable vehicles. Honda makes like some of the best engines like on planet Earth. Their transmissions, though, not the best. Honda's really good for engine making. Get it, EGEX. If you can find an EG, if you can find a clean EG, that's, well, those are probably less. Probably give me about $3 to $4 grand if you want just like a non-completely rusted out one. Like you, I don't know. Those hatches are kind of cool, but I don't know if like as a I mean, you can build a pretty cool EG hatch for like 10K. Not gonna lie, it'll be a lot more fun than probably something that's like newer. But at the same time, if you're wanting something that's like, I'm assuming this, like you're saying here, I'm gonna scroll back up, looking for a car, starter car. I'm gonna just, yeah, okay, you want to go fast. All right, well, then no base models for you, buddy. You're gonna have to go with an SI. That's probably the way you're gonna have to go. Go with an SI. Look at you can either, I don't know if any of the newer ones are cheap enough. You may, yeah, you might be able to get into like a 2015 1.6 VTEC. There you go. I get the B16. The B16s are awesome. Or the B18C1, B18C5. Those are good. Or you're going to do an H22 swap or an F20B if you really want to go that route. Or you can do a B20 VTEC. Those are pretty cool. Or you could take a non-VTEC B18 and you could do just a simple turbo. Yeah. Then K-swap. Yeah. K-swap. Got to do that if you have money for it. The only problem is you can't do it on the Prelude. So, well, I mean, you can. It's just I made a video about that, saying about why it's not really feasible. Yeah, like actually, funny thing. I know one guy here in Edmonton, part of the local community, and I think he's down into the car close to $20,000 at this point, and the car still won't run. Like under its own, like can't like actually drive it. Probably just get a white Jeep. Not bad. Not bad. Jeeps are cool. Did I see the twin engine Prelude? No, I have not seen any of the twin engine Prelude. I didn't see anything. Is that the same thing? Like guy who put an engine in the back as well to make it like an all wheel drive hybrid thing? Because I know that one guy did that with the Del Sol, which is pretty whack. So he had the like one engine in the like the back trunk, and then the one engine he mated it to like I don't even know how they would mate the transmissions like together, but it'd be interesting, like really interesting. I think honestly, not gonna lie, I think one of the best in my opinion ways to do a hybrid, like a hybrid supercar, is with the hybrid supercars is the way that Acura did it with the new NSX, like putting like because they have the electric motors, but they're up front. And you can turn them off and turn them on. Like and then you could pretty much make it like if you could kind of almost like deactivate the front motors, put it directly to rear wheel drive, or have it where it only kicks in when it detects slippage in the front, or if you're just for launching or whatever. That I think that would be kind of interesting. Like maybe turn it off. But I mean, I don't know because they would decrease your power output. I don't know. There could be pros and cons to it, but no. Yeah. Ethan, your question was okay. So if you want to go for a Jeep, Jeep makes great products. Wranglers are pretty good. I highly suggest don't get any of the cheap Jeeps. Okay, not like what I mean by that is don't go with because I used to sell vehicles for one of the Chrysler dealerships like Chrysler Jeep and Dodge here in Edmonton. This was a long time ago, but I'm just gonna flat out say it. The build quality on most of the cheaper Jeeps, like with the Compass, the what do they call it? Not the Gladiator's the new one. The Compass, the Renegade. I think like any of those kind of odd ones. I mean, mind you, this was about this is back in 2013, so 8-ish years ago at this point. So, but the build quality on a lot of those things was utter garbage. I'm gonna be real. So, like the only reason why I would personally like buy something like that is if I didn't really have an option for something else. Like the amount of cheap plastic interior pieces that are in there, the interiors are probably the biggest letdown. A lot of them were using like just really underpowered engines for the size of vehicle they were and just trying to put them along, and they were just super slow and just trash. But yeah, no, like it was those are like try and get something. I know Grand Cherokee's probably a little bit out of price range probably. Those are decent vehicles. I don't think they're bad at all. The Wranglers are probably my favorite Jeep. I just think that they're a well-built vehicle. They give you a lot of versatility. Will you go really fast in them? No, they're not designed to go really fast. You have to kind of look back at the heritage of what the Jeep was designed for and go from there, right? I think they're a great vehicle though. I personally do. I think the Wranglers are great. I think the Grand Cherokees are great. The Cherokee itself, I remember when, well, I mean, now they're kind of entering, they've been around for a while, but I remember going through a training program where we actually got to test drive them and everything before they were actually released. This was a few weeks before they were released to like the public for like, purchasing them. We actually got to take them out for test tracks and everything as part of a training regiment for all the Chrysler dealerships in the city. We all kind of got together and all the salespeople got to go, bag them and whatever. So I actually thought that they were a pretty good vehicle. They're pretty well built in their class compared to the segments. Like for instance, if you were looking at that or like a Ford Escape or Toyota RAV4, I think that they're quite a good alternative. Personally, I would stick with a Honda CRV any day of the week. I mean, mind you, they did update the CRV since the other ones. I mean, the older ones look like I'm talking about the mid 2010s. Those things before they kind of updated them, the newest generation, they look like weird, like eggshell things. Sorry, grandma and grandpa, you have that generation of CRV, and I made fun of it, but it is what it is. I mean, not they're bad vehicles. I think they're great vehicles. They just look a little funky. It was. I don't think it was Honda's finest moment in design language. Then again, Honda's been a little bit lazy in design language, I think, for a lot of stuff. I think they make kind of some boring stuff. How is my dog doing? Oh, she's doing pretty good. The dog is doing great, I think. I mean, you could ask her, but I think she's doing good. Say certain words and she goes AWOL. She'll want to go for a walk or something. Will not stop whining. You say that, so I don't say that. It's dangerous. But no. Oh, I'm upstairs and she's like, we don't let her come into anywhere that is carpet. She's only allowed on our hardwood, or I guess engineered hardwood or whatever, like on the floor that's hardwood and stuff. So she's only allowed on the main floor. Otherwise, like she'll like wreck the carpet, and we don't want to do that. So she stays downstairs. Maybe I'll put her on next week. Actually, next week I believe I will be doing the, what is it? I think what's they called? It's like the spicy noodle challenge. So I'll do that next week. So that will happen next week. But yeah, what I was gonna say though is that if you're planning on going fast with a vehicle, the Jeeps are not really, any sort of Jeep across the board, unless it's like an SRT8 Grand Cherokee, is not going to be something that you're going to be going fast with. Now, I mean, mind you, yes, you can go 200 kilometers in a car or whatever. I bet you'll probably be able to get up to 180 at least in one of those. I don't know what their cutoff is. You can go that fast. Should you? No, the car is not designed to handle like that. It's not. It won't handle. Like it'll feel like you're driving something. Like it's not going to do its job in the same sense. So I wouldn't do that. But yeah, so there's that. Oh, some people were asking me, and I'll get to this question that was asked. It was just on travel plans. What are my plans? Which cities will I be in the summer? Depends. I mean, depends on what the scheduling is, what happens on when people want to go, and then be like, oh, play some sports, hang out, whatever. I don't mind meeting people from all over, Western Canada if they're, subscribers or whatever. But I will be, I know I'll be heading down to Vancouver, granted restrictions permitting, I will be heading down to Vancouver. I will be going to Calgary probably a few times this summer. Usually when I go to Calgary, it's just usually on a business trip. That's my thing. Usually I'm picking up stock for my business, right? For watches. Usually I buy stuff from Calgary. Or I try to. Calgary's a really good market. Vancouver's a really good market. Edmonton's market's kind of hit and miss sometimes. It's just a blue collar city. That's the way it is. And I try and get pieces that are more higher end. Most people don't really want to spend certain amounts, so I usually have to go where the deals are to be had. So it is what it is. But so I'll be going to Calgary. I will be going to Vancouver. I will try, for the people who I know that have been kind of talking to me, I will try and go to Prince George. I'll try and go to Prince George. I probably will. I really want to try to get going down to Kelowna, but I mean, obviously being a teacher, I do have some time off, but at the same time, I don't want to be spending all the money that I made in the year. I want to be able to, put that money back in the business and keep on investing and, saving up for other stuff. I mean, obviously, houses are expensive and that's kind of where I'm at. I want to save up for a down payment. So I can't just blow all my money every single second on vacation. Although, I mean, mind you, it wouldn't be a bad way to spend my money. But yeah, so those are the travel destinations that I have for the summer. But yep. Now that reminds me, before I kind of close everything off, because I think I might as well. I think 30 minutes, just over 30 minutes, is a good way, or a good time period to end it. But yeah, so here's what I'm gonna do. Is I will very briefly just kind of go over the schedule and what's kind of going on for the next little bit here. I am going to be trying to rotate. I might make a video on this as well, probably just briefly. Plans for the summer. I know that I had one a friend that really wanted me to do, a day in the life of, or like, just an eating guide, or like what do I eat kind of stuff. I know it's not really something that I generally tend to do. But I will make it for them because, I said that I would. I think it's kind of funny, but whatever. The other thing, so the other couple of things that I was told or asked to do is more content on my Prelude. That will come. The biggest thing is just like I would say is that I feel like I'm not going to start like doing street racing and garbage like that. I know that some person was like, oh, we want to see you out at the track, we want to see you racing, go taking on the street or whatever. And I'm like, one, I'm a public servant, right? Technically, like, public servant, meaning I can't just go and do stupid stuff with my vehicles all the time. I don't want to do that. If it gets back, to wherever, district wide that I'm doing street racing, it's probably not going to be good for me, and I don't want to potentially lose my job. So I don't want to do that. Also, I just don't want tickets. I don't like tickets are expensive. I don't want to go that route. So, yeah, I'm not really interested in that. And then the other thing, why I don't necessarily think that street racing is like a really, really good thing to do. I don't really condone it. I don't like it that much. I mean, yeah, whatever, do your pulls, have fun sometimes, but as an overarching thing, no, it's not really a good idea. The other thing is, so when people say, okay, we want more content in your Prelude, don't worry, I'll try and alternate. Maybe like once a week I'll do, or sorry, not once a week. So I'll alternate, like 1 week I'll do Prelude related content. The other week I'll do like watch related content. I understand the watch related stuff does not do nearly as well as my Prelude related stuff. It's just that for me, it's a lot. It's not, I wouldn't say it's easier for me to make watch related content. It's just that it's just different, right? It's less like I feel like for me, just talking in front of a camera when I like in kind of that aspect of just like being able to talk in front of the camera about watches, I don't have to have a setup for anything like that. I can just talk about the watches, right? I feel like with my Prelude, I want to be showcasing it. Otherwise, I feel like I'm doing a little bit of a disservice to it. You know what I mean? I can't just be like, here's a picture of it, here's a picture of that. So there's that. So I'll try and get some more stuff from the Prelude for you guys, because that's what you guys really want. But anyways, that's it. That's where I'm going to end it. I think that's probably the best route. But anyways, thank you everybody who's kind of tuned in for today's session. It's a bit of a shorter one. We'll keep it short because everybody wants to go run around outside because it's nice outside. The weather's supposed to be great for at least the next couple of days. But anyways, take care. You guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you later.